Hello, RoahmMythril here once again, and it's time for a Ducky Talky video, which, it's been a while since the last video on the channel, so this video will be kind of talking about what's been going on, as well as a bit of a personal experiment to see how well I can get through this, because, suffice it to say, the absence has been health-related. So, let's get things started up. We'll go to the Infinity Cool, and I'm just gonna leave all the ducks on. It's been a while since we've seen a lot of them. So, let's go. And as always, we start with our standard friendly yellow duck. So, let's take a seat and get into this. So, those who have been with me for a bit know that toward the middle of last year, I had problems with my wisdom teeth, which, getting those out was this whole involved gong show, but I've already talked about that. The important thing is, in mid-November, I had my final follow-up. They told me everything was fine, but since then, I've had a lingering cough. It has never been painful. The cough itself never hurt. There was never anything like coughing up blood. I never had problems breathing or anything. It was just this annoying, persistent cough. We went to my usual doctor for my regular yearly checkup and to get my normal meds refilled and everything, my usual blood work. And I brought up the cough there. As much as I do like talking to my normal doctor, the rest of the clinic is a bit of a issue. But my normal doctor, she's very approachable, friendly. However, it does sometimes feel like she's kind of not focused on the moment sometimes, and that was the feeling I got that day. She didn't examine my throat and just said, I wouldn't worry about it too much, just take some cough drops. I'll also prescribe these things called cough pearls, which they're these little yellow gel caps that, unlike cough drops, you just swallow them down like a normal pill. You don't let them dissolve in your mouth or anything. In fact, they come with a warning saying, do not let this burst in your mouth. If that happens, get to a doctor. So, no pressure. So I'm following the directions for those, taking them as instructed, and it doesn't feel like they are doing anything. Over time, however, it does start to feel like the cough is going away a bit on its own. The coughing fits were getting, further between. It was still there, but not as bad. Who we have here? Anime eyes. It's Duck-chan. So, anyway, for a while there, I'm able to get back to recording. I have to do so around the coughing fits, but they're not too bad, so I'm able to get some videos done, get back to work a bit. However, the coughing fits started getting worse. Toward the end of that last session of RoahmMythrill 3 that I was working on, the last few videos there, I was really having to fight against the coughing fits to get those done. It was definitely an issue. And I was hoping it would get back to feeling better afterwards, and that I could get back to Battle Network 5, but unfortunately, they just got super frequent, super problematic. There was no way I could have recorded around all that. So, we go back to my doctor again. And again, she seems kind of unfocused. Again, she declines to check my throat, and instead just comes up with what feels like a really random assessment. It's acid reflux, which I never really thought of myself as having that. At worst, I maybe get heartburn 3 times a month on a really bad month, and then just take an antacid and it goes away. So, it felt weird to me. But she insisted, and prescribed essentially a prescription-strength version of Pepsid, which she told me, take 1 tablet a night right before you go to bed. She also got me off of my current blood pressure med because that had a side effect of causing a dry hacking cough. She got me on another one, which the first thing the pharmacist warned me about that one was this can cause a cough. Okay then. The odd thing is, the first 2 days I was on these meds, it actually did feel like they were doing something. I felt like I was coughing less often. But then it came back with a vengeance. It was just as bad as it had ever been. So, yeah. My uncle started getting concerned, and so we made an appointment to go see an actual ear, nose, and throat type doctor. It is almost time for a new duck. I have no idea what you just said, so here's a duck with pancakes on its head. The ego of the ego. So, we go there to where the office supposedly is. It's this place that's just dubbed Hospital Street, where the main hospital complex is, and there are all these outlying buildings that all look the same and don't have any exterior signage. All we were really told is Suite 300 and the doctor's name. So we go in one of those buildings, look at the directory, Suite 300, that's not the doctor. Go to the next building, more of the same. Of course, my luck, it was the final building we checked. So, anyway, we get up there, we find the office, and I check in and fill out the usual novel's worth of paperwork that you have to fill out the first time you go to a doctor. They call me back there, and, mad idea, they actually check my throat. And they actually agree with my doctor's assessment that it is acid reflux. It feels like a more legitimate diagnosis coming from them because they actually checked my throat. So it didn't feel like the Dr. Mario method of throw random pill at thing, hope it fix. So they looked at it, and they discovered that there was irritation in my throat that seemed consistent with acid reflux issues. However, what they said was that the medicine that my regular doctor prescribed really wasn't going to do anything. So they instead put me on what is it's basically a prescription strength version of Prilosec, and with more detailed instructions. I actually take 2 capsules a day, 1.5 hours before lunch, 1.5 hours before dinner. I have been on this medication for about 2 weeks now, and it definitely feels like things are going the right way. The irritation is still there, but much more subdued, and the coughing fits are fewer and further between, to where I'm hopeful I can get through this without an issue. From what others have been telling me on my socials, because I've been talking about this there, others that have been in this sort of situation, basically this medicine has to build up in your system, and eventually it starts limiting the acid that your stomach produces to cut down on these issues. So, it's going to take a while, but hopefully we get there. Christmas sweater. So, yeah, I actually have a follow-up appointment with the ear, nose, throat doctor in about 4 weeks as of the time of recording this, so we'll see how things are doing then. In the meantime, I am going to try and do some recording. It might be some simpler videos for a while. We'll see how things go. I do want to get Battle Network 5 up and running again. I want to just get back to normal work, honestly. I am very tired of real life getting in the way, and it insists on doing so. It needs to slow its roll. So, during all this, I've of course been playing games for my own enjoyment and relaxation. I've been playing some Pokemon. I've been working on the community events going on right now for the Shiny Treasures of Ruin. Also, of course, just, working on level 100s and training here and there. The other major game I've been playing a lot of is Warriors Abyss, which is basically Dynasty Warriors as a roguelite of sorts. Also with Samurai Warriors and guest characters in there. And it's a lot of fun. I always enjoy the new characters they add. I hope we get more and more updates for it, add more and more characters. It's just a very fun game. Very much a numbers go up game, very satisfying. I still have yet to beat the game on the highest difficulty. My friend Kit has, which, congrats, man. The highest difficulty of Warriors Abyss, it is a thing, and the bosses just have an insane amount of HP on the highest difficulty. I've gotten to, the second to last boss and can barely make a dent in it. So, yeah. I obviously have not stepped onto the right kind of build there. But it is still a game I very much enjoy, so yeah. Other than that, I've been working on artistic stuff, mostly doing drawings of my robot masters, also some of Neo's. So, yeah. First, we'll put mine on screen. Yeah, how I went from having 8 Robot Masters about the middle of last year to having 19 now, I'll never know. Yay, creativity. Also, for good measure, I made a couple of support bots for a couple of mine. I want to make more of these, I just haven't quite had any ideas that have solidified themselves in my head quite as much as those two yet, but I will probably make more over time. Oh heck yeah, Disco Duck. So, also lately I've been drawing Neo's Robot Masters. Just partly because they are really fun designs and fun to draw, but also as kind of a thank you for just all the work he's done for me over the years on my channel. I will never be able to thank him enough for everything he has done for me. I'm eternally grateful for all the support he's given me, both by doing like title card art and channel art for me, as well as, you know, just being my friend in general. So, yeah, I am eternally grateful to count him among my circle of friends. So here are the ones I've drawn there so far. And I'll be working on more of them over time. So, with that, it brings me to one more thing I do kind of want to talk about, because this is a weird gray situation that, honestly, I'd kind of like some advice. I'd like to hear what people think on this. Because the thing is, there has been a nagging thought in my head for a while, and I don't really know how to feel about it. And the issue in question is, there is a part of me that honestly would like to officially adopt Juno the Fox's Dragon Man into the RMNs. Not just wholesale copying the design. The original base is a very solid base, and I would like to work from that, but like add some more details, kind of polish him up, make him his own Robot Master, because the original Dragon Man was very reined in due to what he was. Essentially, he was a reskin of Mega Man. So, yeah. The original Dragon Man, the origins there, for those who haven't been with me quite that long, because, gods, time to turn to dust. I think that was over a decade ago. I've been on YouTube that long, dear gods. But around that time, one of my viewers, Juno the Fox, wanted to surprise me with something, and they made a graphical joke hack of the 8-bit demake of Mega Man 7, called Revenge. Basically, it was just some of the stages. They replaced some graphics with just things that were like jokey references to my perfect runs, and Mega Man himself was reskinned to be Dragon Man, a Robot Master that was very much based on my Dragon character. You can tell from the coloration, because this is also a detail I forgot. The original incarnation of Dragon Man looked a bit different from how he looks as a skin in Magmammal. For a minute I thought that was either the stone or marble duck, but it would have sunk if so. Okay, metallic blue stars. So yeah, here's the original Dragon Man as he appeared in Revenge. So yeah, as you can see, far more based on my dragon character, with the yellow coloration around the chest, the red crystal for the ruby pendant. So, definitely very much based on my dragon character, and he was given also kind of joke references to perfect runs and just my Mega Man content. For example, his charge shot was a force beam. I finally get the power! And instead of Rush, I summoned a Met, because I love Mets, they're adorable. It's all about the Mets, baby. So, it was very much kind of a created-for-me thing. Juno was going to also work on more stages on it. However, there were issues with being able to replace the graphics on some stages to where things just broke with the way they were doing things. And in the process of trying to get them to work, their computer carked it and they lost all that work. They got a new system, got in contact with me again, asked me to send them what I had. I did so. And unfortunately, that, I think, was around the last time I heard from them. And again, that was like over a decade ago. So, you know, above all, I hope they're doing okay out there. It's always a little disconcerting when somebody that you're speaking with on the regular, I mean, I didn't have contact with Juno, I don't think, over like a messenger or anything. It was purely through email. but like, just the email stopped. So whatever happened, I hope they're doing okay out there. That's the very important thing. But contact just ended at that point. Over the years, I have occasionally been approached by others asking my permission to use Dragon Man. And it's always been this weird gray area thing of, I wasn't the creator of Dragon Man. Dragon Man was essentially created for me, but wasn't my creation, and so I was never really sure if it was proper for me to give quote-unquote permission to use Dragon Man or not. Since then, however, Dragon Man has been used here and there by others, most notably Baby Jeff, who not only created a custom skin for MagMammal 2 and 3 based on Dragon Man, which also changed the look a little bit, which we'll get into that in a moment, but also I found out Baby Jeff is or at least was working on a Dragon Man fan game, a Mega Man fan game starring Dragon Man, which I don't know what the current status of that one is. I think there was a demo that was made for it, I want to say around a year ago. I'm not sure what the current status of it is. Rude. So yeah, if anyone knows any more on that, I'd be interested to hear. But always, of course, Juno the Fox was credited as the original creator. And like I said, the coloration of Dragon Man in Baby Jeff's work has changed a little bit, and I kind of Mandela'd myself in a way, because this is how I got so used to seeing Dragon Man at this point because of the skins in MagMammal. I got it in my head that this was how he always looked. More of a green and lavender color scheme, which I really like, and thus that kind of cemented itself in my head of how he looks, and how if I were to adopt him into the RMNs, the color palette I'd probably use for him. Though again, I would tweak the design a bit, add some more details, get away from like the meme references, make him more solidly a robot master of his own design, that sort of thing. And so I just wonder what the ramifications of that are. Because, again, Juno the Fox was the original creator, and I haven't been able to get in touch with them in over a decade. So, it almost feels like Dragon Man, with other people using the concept, like, and I mean specifically that concept. Of course, there are other Dragon Man robot masters out there, like I know Megaphil X has a Dragon Man as one of the robot masters in Unlimited 2. But this particular incarnation of Dragon Man as created by Juno the Fox, others obviously have used him in fan projects and such. So, for lack of a better term, it almost feels like he's in this weird position of being, like, almost abandonware of a sort. I don't know. I'm not really sure how to word it. And so there is part of me that would very much like to kind of polish him up a bit and adopt him into the RMNs, because also, let's be real, it would be kind of weird for me to not have a Dragon Man among the RMNs given my own interests and likes and stuff. So, it's one of those where it feels like there's arguments that could be made on both sides. On the, I don't know about this side, there's obviously the fact that he was created originally by Juno, and I can't get in touch with them anymore to ask what they think of this. And to another degree, there's the fact that the color palette I would want to use for Dragon Man, if I were to make my own rendition of him, is basically the one used by Baby Jeff. So, I really don't know what the ramifications are there. On the maybe it would be okay side of things, there's obviously the fact that others have used the Dragon Man concept for their own fan projects or custom skins for MagMammal or whatever. What do we got here? GFAB. It's Halo Submarine. We all live there. So, there's also the fact that the character, while not my original creation, was very obviously based on my my dragon persona, my mascot of sorts, and was, I don't think it's far-fetched to say that Dragon Man was essentially created for me as part of that graphical hack, as just a, hey, have this, I hope it makes you laugh, I hope you have a good time with it. So, like I said, it feels like there's arguments that could go in either direction. And also the fact that I wouldn't, like, while a lot of the base I probably would keep kind of as is, because it is a very solid design, and a lot of it just kind of coincides with how I generally draw dragons. The color green is just kind of the first color I tend to think of with dragons, even though they come in all kinds of colors. If I were to design a Dragon Man of my own completely separate, I would still probably make him green. The problem is, there's just so many details about Dragon Man that I feel like if I were to try and make my own, it would largely end up looking like that Dragon Man anyway, just with extra attributes and such. So, yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. And so, it is something, I would like input on that. Because, like, I asked over on my Twitter, I got a couple of responses. Both responses seem to be in the camp of, it's probably fine for me to do that. There's also the fact that it is just a for fun thing, and, like, I don't even have the knowledge to, like, try and make a fan game, but even if I did, or even if I had a team behind me that wanted to make fan games with my Robot Masters, it would be just that, a fan game, so I wouldn't be making any money off of it. It would purely be just a just-for-fun passion project thing. So, there's no monetary gain. I really don't know. I really don't know. I'd be interested to hear input on that. Because it would just be fun to have him as part of the collection, you know, like, officially make him the next RMN or whatever. But there's just so many questions that arise there with that situation. So, yeah, any input, I welcome. I'd like to know what people think about that. And in the off chance that you're still out there, Juno, if you still happen to watch my videos, please send me an email. Let me know what you think if you're still out there, and I hope you are, man. I hope you're doing okay out there. I think basically that's about it. Hopefully over the coming weeks, sometime next month, hopefully we can get Battle Network 5 up and running again, or at the very least maybe some one-offs or something. Just getting something going on the channel again. I hate leaving the channel unattended for so long. Words, they're difficult sometimes. 8-ball, I'm behind it. English unclear, try again later. But, yeah, I hate leaving the channel unattended for so long. When it's, especially with these things that are just, like, beyond my control. Getting sick, having just various issues, household problems, family problems, just all kinds of things. Real life really, really needs to slow its roll. But I'm hoping we can get back to work soon, be more productive on things. And so I think that's about all I really have to say. And, hey, we made it through this without a coughing fit. Amazing! So, yeah, like I said, it definitely feels like I am on the road to getting better. I do feel a little bit of the irritation, but it's in a way, like, actually recording this, I feel a bit of the irritation, but was able to, like, ignore it and get through this. So, hopefully that's a good sign. Hopefully the meds are doing good things for me and they're building up, and, you know, hopefully we can get back to work and actually do the stuff I want to do. Please. With that, I think that's going to be the end of this one. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the vid. Hope you enjoyed the Ducky Talky. Be sure and leave comments to let me know, like, what you think of the Dragon Man situation. It would honestly be nice to have him in the collection, but it's, again, I don't know if it would be really right for me to do so. I'm open to the idea, but I'd want to know what others think. And with that, I think we're done, so see you again next time, which will hopefully be sooner rather than later. And until then, fare thee well. And ducks. We never really did see what ducklings does, did we? Granted, I guess having so many packs of ducks active at once, maybe it made it harder for that to do anything. I was wondering if it was more like going to be kind of an option applied to existing ducks or something. I really don't know what ducklings does. Ducks. Like this one here.